say that you feel a good sensation inside the car.
It definitely feels better to have a roof protecting your head.
We always try to be on the highest level of safety with our race cars possible. And when we took the decision to make a closed car, we have seen a chance to do a very special, strong monocoque out of one shell and not out of two shells, bonded together like all the others.
The unique one-piece design yielded a stronger yet lighter survival cell, one that will shelter drivers in case of an accident. The Audi engineers made the R18 safe, and if you ask the drivers, even slightly stylish.
To be in that car, you know, when you see pictures sometime and you see, wow, I am the guy who's driving that car, that's cool.
Audi will field 3 nearly identical R18s for the 2011 race. 3 cars means 3 teams of drivers. The race's defending champions will pilot car number 1. Timo Bernhard, Romain Dumas, and Mike Rockenfeller. Before his win in 2010, Rockenfeller's history with the track was, well, rocky.
Devastation for the Audi team. Young Mike Rockenfeller has crashed the R10 heavily.
It took 3 years for Rocky to finally earn redemption.
When you stand on that podium, it's hard to describe, and yeah, I hope I will have it again.
It's a feeling that the drivers of the number 3 car are familiar with. They are practically a Le Mans all-star team. Dindo Capello, Tom Christensen, and Alan McNeish have 13 wins among them. Capello has been with Audi Sport since its first Le Mans. His extensive resume boasts 3 victories. McNeish, lightning quick and relentless, has won the race twice. Christensen has won the race 8 times, earning him the nickname Mr. Le Mans.
7 victories, a record 7 now becomes 8. Tom Christensen extends his record-winning run at Le Mans.
The number 2 car will be piloted by last year's second-place finishers. In only their second year together as an Audi team, Marcel Fassler, Benoit Trillier, and André Lotterer are quickly making their mark. Individually, they've won races all over the world, but this is Le Mans, and they have something to prove.
For sure the pressure is there, you know. Le Mans is one of the biggest races in the world, and really don't want to mess it up.
The drivers aren't the only ones in the crucible. An army of engineers and mechanics must be perfect in its own right.
In addition to the drivers, of course, look at the team behind each car. With the 3 car, with McNish, Dindo and Tom, you've got Howden. He has got all of the experience. And, of course, he's won the race before. The 2 other lead engineers, they are not as experienced in terms of leading a team.
I started with Audi in 2007 as an assistant engineer to Howden Haynes. Prior to meeting H, I'd never done anything at this level. I'd done analysis before, but on nothing like this kind of car.
I've treated Lena like an apprentice, you could say. You know, you want to bring people in, I would say bring young people in, but she's actually older than me, but, you know, you bring someone up from the beginning and sort of turn them into a race engineer that we feel we need, you know. We felt that she was ready to take on that role of lead engineer of her own car.
The decision to elevate Lena was ultimately made by Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, the head of Audi Sport. Over the last 12 years, Dr. Ulrich has built a Le Mans dynasty. From the outside, he appears a stern figure, but his icy glare hides a deep passion for his racing team.
The general impression that people get is of a very cold, regimented individual. He likes things to be precise. He's motivated to win without question. But on the other side of it is the sort of very much a human side of it. And he's very close with his drivers. He puts the arm round the shoulder when need be and gives the kick up the backside when need be as well.
We are a team that sticks very close together. Each one supports the others. And this is something that was building up through the years. I was pushing always very hard that we live motorsport like a family. And I think that's one of the small things that make it different to the most of the other teams.
I think when you're putting a team together, whether it be a soccer team, racing team, the key is the word team. It's got to fit together. The people have got to fit together. And in an event like Le Mans, you've got 3 drivers in one car. There is a knack there that Dr. Ulrich has. He can see something in the personalities of people more than necessarily the driving characteristics that he thinks, Alan will fit really well with Tom, but those two probably need a Dindo just to balance it all out. And now, over the 3 cars, we've got probably the strongest driving combinations we've ever had. And the 3 cars work together. Not just individually, but they actually work together for the greater good. But we do know that only one car can win. And we always want to be that one car to win.
For any of Audi's 3 cars to win at Le Mans, they will have to best an equal number of Peugeots. The French marque also has a new car, the 908, with a V8 diesel engine. Audi and Peugeot, for the first time in their rivalry, entered the 2011 season on equal footing. But only one of them was ready for the season's first race.
Peugeot tested that car at Sebring over 12 hours. The R18 wasn't ready for that test, and Peugeot came away from that bruised and battered, but I would have thought with a slight Gallic smile on their lips because the car performed so well. The R18's debut at Spa was the first time that we saw real competition.
Having seen what the new 908s could do at Sebring, it's critical that Audi get the R18 on the track under race conditions. Early in the race, though, Alan McNish's eagerness costs him.
With McNish, he's gone round. Oh, he's gone round already. Cold tyres, cold brakes, and now he's going to have to sit there and wait for the whole of the field to shoot past.
The problems multiplied, and the R18's maiden voyage was a disappointing one for the Audi team.
And he's just going to let the Peugeot go past because he's not at full racing speed. Drama then in the Audi camp.
In Spa, we had a car that showed quite some potential from the speed, but we didn't make several things run as they should run. It was just not a perfect weekend for us.
And that's a new rear end going on an Audi.
Spa was not a good race. Everything that could possibly go wrong had gone wrong.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go, and Marcel Fassler's brought the 2 car in. Splash and dash. Audi couldn't have got their calculations wrong, surely. Very, very strange indeed.
Partly down to preparation, partly down to a new car and teething troubles. It was very tough, though, very tough.
The first time we saw Audi and Peugeot go head-to-head, and very much a commanding victory from Peugeot. They've had the pace over Audi throughout the race, and the next time we'll see these cars will be at the famous Le Mans 24-hour race. And that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Peugeot happy, Audi still slightly pensive.
Le Mans isn't just a race, it's a celebration of the sport. And at the Parade of Champions, the drivers are the featured guests.
For hours.
The race at Spa is cause for concern. The car showed promise, but promise alone won't win at Le Mans. And a battle with Peugeot looms.
In a racing environment, you really don't know how you match up to your competition until, let's say, the first qualifying session. That is where it kind of, the truth comes home, you know?
The truth is, the R18s were specifically engineered to endure 24 hours on this track. In the past, Audi hasn't been able to match Peugeot's outright speed during qualifying. It's an advantage they can't afford to concede. This year, more than ever, every second will be crucial. But misfortune strikes early when Romain Dumas comes upon an Aston Martin that has spun out at Arnage Corner. An accident in qualifying is not unusual for Le Mans. Every driver wants to be the fastest. But a second shunt for Audi, this time with Tom Christensen behind the wheel, proves worrisome. Mixed with the disappointment of damaging two cars is the success of the number 2 car. For the first time in years, Audi is quicker than Peugeot in qualifying, and Benoit Trillier earns pole position.
Right, hey boys, I need to quickly talk to you. It was not intentional. I mean, a pole at Le Mans is brilliant, but it's not going to win you the race. But I still didn't know we had pole position until I noticed all the photographers with our drivers, and I thought, something going on here.
All the journalists were there, like pole position, we're like, wow. But it didn't feel like, okay, you know, we were gunning for it, and our main focus was for the big one, for the race.
Race day at Le Mans is like nothing else in motorsport. The field is a robust 56 cars. But there are only 2 teams, giants really, who can realistically eye the trophy.
So we come to Le Mans with a feeling that maybe Peugeot have an advantage. No, Peugeot do have an advantage. They've raced the car more. And we've seen in the past, when Audi haven't been out there racing, sometimes their performance at Le Mans has suffered.
I think last year we won because we made perfect race, no mistake, and that was for 24 hours. If it works the same way for 23 hours and 50 minutes, it's not enough, that's it.
I think the most intense moment of the 24 hours of Le Mans for everyone around, for the fans, for the drivers, for the team, is the start. One course.
Timo Bernhard will stop behind the wheel of the number 1 car, which is going for back-to-back victories. The always fast Alan McNish will take the green flag in the number 3 car. And the man who put his car on pole, Ben Trillier, will start in front in the number 2 Audi.
I'd never started before in Le Mans. It's a long race, you have to be quiet in the car. And you know you're going to start for 24 hours and everybody want to lead at the beginning. So yeah, it was a bit of stress.
The pressure's building up each day more and more and more until Saturday the flag drops and then we go racing. So it's a great feeling.
Keep the engine revs up. Currently temperature is 50 degrees. Need to warm the engine up.
Okay, crew, just do a last equipment check. Make sure everything's ready. Alan, mix 1, or higher if you need it for the tyre.
There's a reason why I nearly always start Alan in the car for the beginning of a race. You know, he's like a Scottish terrier biting at the ankles of, you know, the French. He kind of sets the tone for the rest of the race for not only us, but also to our opposition. And we know that they get rattled by Alan being in the car at that beginning.
Prepare for start. Remember, no overtaking until you cross the line.
I really don't know if Peugeot don't like it, whether I start or not. If they don't like it, it's their problem.
This is a great formation start. Big blast of Peugeot diesel smoke from row number 3, and McNish gets a great start. It's Audi, Peugeot, Audi. McNish has already dealt with one of the French cars. It's from the inside. He's going to lose that position.
As you can see, there are cars already being lapped. This is only now the 5th lap of the race, and you've got this absolutely superb battle between Franck Montagny and Alain McNish. They go past the Ferris wheel, they come into the Ford chicane, up over the timing line. Alain McNish looks quicker as he comes out of the chicane, but he's blocked by Franck Montagny as they come across the line, but McNish tries to squeeze up on the inside. Fantastic stuff, this.
And I'm not sure that the clerk of the course might not want to have a word with Montagny about that. That's quite an ambitious block there. Montagny is a very brave young Frenchman in order to be dealing with McNish like that. Last year, the winning Audi went further than anybody else.
Out as it's McNish